never actually give you
harm.
Do no harm. You read my mind. Do no harm, and that's the number one rule for vice presidents. And if you have any questions, go ask Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
Rebecca, any thoughts here?
I mean, I think it's clear that they are having to do a second look at everybody's dossier at this point. I don't know. Like, I was surprised Chris Dodd was alive. Not that I want Chris Dodd dead. I had just forgotten about Chris Dodd that thoroughly. So I don't know what strings he's pulling or Ed Rendell is pulling behind the scenes.
They're on the vetting committee.
No, they're on the vetting committee, but I don't. Yeah. I've been trying to game out all week why Chris Dodd went to the press. Like, who does this benefit? And it doesn't benefit anybody. I think Chris Dodd just likes to talk.
One thing I would say is, and I actually disagree with all of you.
Really? What a shock.
What?
I know. I think the reason Biden hit pause on the selection was because the Trump campaign hit pause on all their advertising this week. Bill Stepien has taken over the Trump campaign from Brad Parscale. He stopped all the advertising. Trump went dark this week. They were rethinking their strategy.
In every state, DJ? I know it was in Michigan. Did he do it in every state?
From what I understand, they went dark everywhere.
Okay.
They're going to be back on the air on Monday with apparently new and different ads, whatever it is. But I'm guessing that the Biden campaign said, wait a minute, we don't know what Trump, we don't know Trump's message is, whatever his new message is seizing on this week. Let's take a step back. Let's hear what they have to say, and then we know what VP selection best to address it. I actually think that the longer this goes on, the better Harris and Demings look, because I think it'll be easier. I think going to the center with a vice presidential nominee makes a bit more sense than going to the left, particularly with with the rise of Republican voters against Trump, Republicans for Biden, and all that kind of thing. And I think that just sitting back and waiting until Trump says, if Trump actually releases this, Joe Biden will be a complete tool of the left and they're going to put him in a nursing home and run the country over a cliff, then when he goes more to the center with his nomination, it just once again outfoxes the Trump campaign. And I think that's what they were waiting for.
Well, I like the resurgence of the name Tammy Duckworth being brought back up, because I think she's terrific. And, she's got the military background. She's a Midwesterner. And so, if he's taking a second look at her as a possibility, I think that's a really good and strong choice. DJ, I know you disagree with me because you've got this Val Demings torch that you're carrying.
I do like Val Demings. I would be okay with Harris or Duckworth. They both bring things to the table. I do happen to think every other possibility would be a mistake for various and different reasons. But I'd be fine with Duckworth. I think Duckworth would help.
I want to say, DJ, I think that your theory, although I like mine the best, I think your theory is pretty good. You raised a lot of really good points. And one other possibility that nobody has mentioned is, everybody knows the process is these people get vetted, they narrow it down, they make sort of a final selection or two, and then the candidate meets with one or two people and makes his or her final choice. Maybe he met with one or two people and those meetings didn't go as well as they should. Or maybe because of COVID and other scheduling things, they couldn't get Biden in a room with those people. So there's all sorts of possibilities here.
All sorts of possibilities. Or maybe the invitation to meet with Biden got lost in the mail because the U.S. Postal Service...
That is one of the best transitions we've had in months.
Well done.
Excellent.
The U.S. Postal Service is operating at glacial speeds these days, and it is not because of COVID. It is not because of the increase in mail order of stuff due to quarantine. It is because the new Postmaster General is a douchebag. Has anyone else been following this story as closely as I have?
I've been keeping an eye on it. It's not good.
So the new Postmaster General's main qualification is that he can write checks to Trump for his campaign. And he has gone in and he's tried to improve efficiency within the U.S. Postal Service. And his way of doing that is to make sure all mail carriers finish their routes on time. They don't do any overtime, and they don't do any second swings to deliver mail after their first run through the route. And the result of that is they are only delivering a fraction of the amount of mail they were able to deliver previously. If you talk to people who have businesses on Etsy or eBay, they are facing terrible delays in getting their products to people. An indie book site that I really like has had trouble getting me books, which, as we all know, this is a real crisis. And the workers aren't getting overtime. And the bigger issue that is looming in front of us is, what is this going to mean for an election that is going to be largely conducted by mail in many places? What does it mean if ballots are not getting delivered on time, or not getting delivered at all, if they just end up sitting in a building that Bernie Sanders got to name?
It may end up backfiring against Trump, because this is going to be so well publicized. They're already telling people you want to get your ballot in the mail at least a week early and maybe 2 weeks early. And if that message gets out and early voters actually get their ballots in the mail by, let's say, the third week of October, that might even work to Trump's worst disadvantage. So, like everything else he does, this may backfire.
It may backfire. In the meantime, it is hurting people. It's slowing down commerce. It is causing workers not to get overtime pay, something they relied on, and Treasury is going to be getting new sets of data. DJ, did you add this? If there's data in the Treasury Department, it's usually you.
Yeah, I did add this. Thank you. The Treasury Department agreed to give a $10 billion loan to the Postal Service on Thursday, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, but that was part of the coronavirus package. But in exchange for that, the Treasury Department insisted on getting data from the post office regarding its what I call third-party contracts, the delivery contracts with Amazon and with other delivery services, eBay, Etsy, those kind of things, in terms of the so-called last mile. Because in a lot of cases, Amazon will deliver, but there's certain areas where Amazon would rather the post office do it, because the post office will go that last mile that Amazon won't. The Trump administration has wanted the data on those contracts for years, because Donald Trump is convinced that the post office is somehow subsidizing Jeff Bezos. And now they're going to get some of that data in exchange for the loan that the post office needed until a couple of weeks ago to continue operating into 2021. So the post office will continue operating into 2021, but again, as we've talked about, they're operating on reduced capacity, and now some of the ammunition that Donald Trump wants to attempt to separate Amazon from the Postal Service, he is actually getting, and that's not a good thing either.
No, it's not a good thing.
Part of that legislation, they have to change their slogan to neither rain nor sleet nor Amazon data will keep us from delivering the mail.
Yes, something like that. Yeah,
and they might actually have to add demon semen into that, because that's what's keeping all of us from delivering much of anything. Apparently,
that's
Trump,
right. Demon semen makes us sick.
Like, if you were on social media at all this week, you saw demon sperm or demon semen trending, and guys, 2020, like it could have been anything, but no, it was just Donald Trump again. And it wasn't Stormy Daniels talking about the demon semen. It was this doctor. Was she even a doctor?
No, she is a doctor. She's a doctor.
She's a doctor.
She's a doctor. That's fair.
Okay, so she was a doctor, and she and other doctors were talking about how great hydroxychloroquine made
we
by
don't know
Kodak
if the other
is.
people were doctors, though.
Oh, okay. She and other people who stand places.
At least a few of them were. Now, you can argue their credentials, but they were, at least a few of them were doctors.
But her credentials include being certain that demons have sex with people in their sleep, and that alien DNA is an ingredient in vaccines. Is that the right one? Okay.
Yes, that is.
Because that could have been a QAnon thing. It's hard to keep it all straight.
Yeah. No,
right.
Those are the beliefs of Reverend Dr. Stella Emanuel, who got her medical degree in Nigeria, and she runs a practice in a strip mall right next to her church.
Wait, a church she attends or a church she runs?
A church she runs.
Okay, so double duty. There we go. Very convenient.
Yeah. And yes, she insists that alien DNA is part of medical treatments. She is convinced that there are lizard people who run the country, and that if you are having...
Yeah, she's right about that.
I was going to say, the lizard people, that's pretty well documented.
That's spot on.
Trump holds press conferences every day now.
and if you are having gynecological or potency issues, it is because you are having sex with demons in your sleep or something.
So it was fun this week because obviously that tape, when you see it, it has some entertainment value. But what was also fun was the videos of all of the doctors, and these are all Republicans, but they don't say it on their videos, who came to her defense and were going, she's a doctor. She's been practicing. Who is the FDA or the CDC or anyone else to tell her that she cannot prescribe hydroxychloroquine to her patients? And then they'll talk about themselves. I've been practicing for 30 years and I've seen 10,000 patients. And if I want to, prescribe hydroxychloroquine...
Joseph Mengele was a doctor too. Not all doctors are created equal.
Exactly.
God's sake. And by the way, my cousin needs hydroxychloroquine for her lupus, so maybe stop taking it, Louis Gohmert.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's too bad. Louis Gohmert took care of that.
Yeah,
took that away. Right after he now this is... Louis Gohmert has been called by Molly Jong-Fast as the dumbest member of Congress. And
that's tough, because Jim Jordan...
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of things you can say about Jim Jordan, but he's not dumb. He's a lot of bad things, but he's not dumb.
Oh, yeah, you can. As someone from state of Ohio.
Okay, we all acknowledge there's plenty of competition for this. However, Congressman Gohmert came down with COVID-19, didn't tell anybody, went to the House gym, went to his office where his staff has to show up and where they can't wear masks, and then said that at one point he thinks he got the virus because at some point the virus ended up on a mask that he had to use, and the mask was how he got sick. And then he started taking hydroxychloroquine.
Was he using other people? Did someone say, "Oh, I'm finished with this mask. Do you want to use it?"
As they picked one up in the parking lot. It was discarded.
Was he hanging around like a playground or something, and a kid dropped it, and he's like, "Oh, I'll do." I mean, what a dumbass! I may take back my Jim Jordan comment.
He's trolling everybody. Again, he knows what he's doing. He's not stupid.
No,
he
is.
says that to troll liberals like this cast.
I don't want, and I said this on the on our group chat. I don't want anyone sick. I really don't. And we talked about Herman Cain, and it's sad that he passed. It really is. But hopefully people will take his passing as a warning sign and say, like, oh, maybe I should wear a mask. He ignored the warnings. He got sick, and unfortunately he passed away. Maybe they'll see Representative Gohmert and say, oh, he ignored the warnings. He got sick. Hopefully he'll make a recovery. We're not heartless here. We just make a lot of jokes. And I'll wear a mask, and I'll see this as a warning. But
hopefully other members of Congress will stop shaming their staff for wanting to wear masks at work to protect themselves and protect others.
Oh,
because
yes.
Because now Jose Grijalva has tested positive for COVID, and he's worried that he caught it from Louis Gohmert, and he's pretty mad about it, which I would be too, frankly.
Oh, I would be pissed as the day is long.
I also hope that these people see that 260 campers from one summer camp
in Georgia,
contracted the virus in 2 days, and that there are now, sadly, there are now teenagers who are reportedly dying from COVID-19, and this idea that Trump has been spewing, and this might be the worst lie of all of his 18,000 plus lies, the idea
20,000.
that 20,000, thank you.
It's 20,000 now.
The idea that children are 99.9% not affected by COVID-19 is a horrible, horrible lie. And if we don't realize the reality before August 17th or August 23rd, whenever public schools go back into session and whenever colleges start to bring kids back on campus, the month of September is going to look like Gettysburg or Antietam.
Yeah, it's, what we're realizing is that children were very sheltered from the virus while we were all, really
Right.
obeying the stay-at-home orders, and that's why they haven't been getting sick. We yanked them all out of school and didn't put them in situations where they were getting sick. As summer camps ramped up, we're starting to see community transmission among children, and they're discovering that children do carry just as high a viral load as adults, and they are just as good at spreading it as adults. And the kids shouldn't be back in school, and they